Coming out changes everything, but what happens when you're already a father? When your truth collides with your responsibilities and your love life comes second to bedtime stories? Well, we're going to talk with a gay father about the courage, the confusion, and the search for connection today on Off the Couch. And welcome to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg, where psychology meets everyday life. I'm Dr. Greg Cason, psychologist, here with producer Brian Gomez. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you guys?
Brian is like, he just back from Paris Fashion Week, so he is like doing a miracle by being here. He just flew in last night. So welcome back, Brian.
Thank you.
You're going to be telling us about that. We have Tony Sweet on the board. Hi, Tony.
Hello.
And today, I got to introduce our special guest. My guest today is a gay father who has lived on both sides of the closet with a child in the middle. We're going to talk about what it really takes to live authentically, date honestly, and be the best dad you can be. Welcome, David Bader.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to be on. I mean, what's so funny is I actually ran into you at an event, right?
Yes.
This was for another podcast guest we actually had here.
Yeah.
This was from LA Magazine, and we happened to just run into each other and start talking. And you told me this fascinating story, and I'm like, I got to have this guy on to talk about your story and what you dealt with for coming out and dealing with your life. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, before we go into it, I wanted to figure out just how common or rare a phenomenon being a father of a child under 18 is in America, not just being a father, but being a gay father. So I don't know how good my statistics are here. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this kind of funnel approach where I look at statistics of different studies.
Sure.
And I try to narrow it down.
Sure.
So what I did is I went to the Williams Institute. That's the law school at UCLA. They do amazing research and found that 2.6 million LGBTQ adults are currently parenting children under 18 in the United States. So that seems like quite a bit. We also know that approximately 18% of LGBTQ people are parenting minors. Now, this is the whole community. This is men, women, and everything in between, like the whole thing. And these are split between couples and solo parents. The solo parents are single, divorced, widowed, or separated. So we wanted to see couples versus singles. So we look at the census and also look at the Williams Institute breakdowns. About 45 to 50% of LGBTQ parents live with a same-sex partner or spouse. So, it could be, that's about half, but about 50 to 55% are solo parents. Now, I don't think people really know that because that seems like a very high number. We always think of these family units, 2 parents and a kid, type of thing. But actually, it's about 50 to 55%. That yields about 1.3 million LGBTQ parents, so solo parents. So there's about 1 million plus solo parents out there. So I'm like, how many of those are men? Then look at population surveys and found that 35% of LGBTQ parents are men. Then I took that number and I did that times how many we know are LGBTQ parents, put them together, 455,000 solo LGBTQ men parenting kids. So that's men who identify as bi, identify as,
Interesting.
Maybe whatever else. Bi, queer, whatever. So then I went and said, okay, among the LGBTQ men, how many identify as gay, like just like men, versus bi, trans, etc. Mm-hmm. So I looked at the Pew and Gallup surveys. They identified that 75 to 80% of LGBTQ men identify as gay rather than bisexual or any other identity. Mm-hmm. Then you break that down. So we're going down it's like going down a funnel. 300, but basically, about 0.78 is the number I used right in the middle. 0.78 times 455,000 equals 355,000 solo gay men currently raising children under 18 in the United States at this time. 355,000. Sounds like a lot.
It's not.
But then you look at the total population of the United States. We are currently about 365 million. So what this means is 1 in 940, or approximately 1 in 1,000, compared to our 1 in 1,000 people in the United States is a gay father raising someone under 18. So it's a pretty small, per capita, it's pretty small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So you're kind of a rare breed.
Well, you can imagine back in '92 when I was coming out of a marriage and coming out, and my son was 10 months old.
Oh.
So I took him, and I was more suited to raising him than she was. And so there I was in my 20s with a 10-month-old baby coming out, and at times I did feel like a venerable freak show because there were no men with babies, none. It was a very isolating experience. And
I'll bet, how old were you at the time?
27?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So 27-year-old,
Yeah,
10-month-old
10-month-old baby.
child.
Yeah.
And you were just coming into your own
Yes.
and saying, this is something I need to do.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And for a lot of reasons. The most important reason for me was, if you cannot be honest with yourself, how do you instill honesty in your children? So, and I would be a better parent if I was authentic to who I am.
So a big reason you came out was because of your child.
Yes.
That you wanted to be an authentic, true human
Well,
being.
the marriage was, I got married in my early 20s, and I didn't know what I was doing. And she was glamorous and an actress and had been on the cover of the European Vogue, and she could not have children. So what do you do when you're grasping at straws and your marriage is falling apart? You adopt a one-day-old baby, and babies make good marriages better and bad marriages worse. So I realized the whole thing was just a disaster.
Good marriage is better and bad marriage is worse. And that's certainly been my observation
Yes.
dealing with people.
Yeah.
But when you were coming out, did you feel like you were breaking up your family or saving your family?
I felt like I was saving myself.
Saving yourself.
And I have very supportive parents and 3 sisters who are very supportive. And I grew up here. And, my father always said, you've got to be your authentic
Here being
self.
LA, just
Yes, here in LA. Yes.
just for those who are curious. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just setting my timer. Yeah. So what is it you feared most? Like, tell me when you're coming out. I mean, this is an unusual step for the father to take the child.
Yes.
So was that just fine? Like, she's like, cool, do that? Or
No, we were in and out of court for about 16 years.
I see.
While I was raising Daniel. It was challenging because I didn't know where to go and what to do initially. I remember strolling up to the Abbey when it was the coffee house across the street.
I do remember it well. This is a very famous gay club here now, but it started out not serving alcohol, serving coffee,
Right.
and it was kind of a late night place, the place you went after the bars often,
Yes.
or just hung out in the
Or
afternoon.
Sundays.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I remember the first time strolling in there with Daniel, and it got really quiet.
Yeah.
Because they could tell I was the parent. I mean, the way I was, but I just felt very uncomfortable. And I was looking for other groups and dads, moms. There was nobody. But I forged away, and I did meet some incredible people who are still in my life.
People who were also parents?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't have any friends really I have friends now who are parents, but I didn't forge any relationships with people who are parents because there really were none, no gay people that I know of.
So you really didn't have any fellow parents to lean on to?
No.
Wow.
No.
How about like straight parents, like the parents at school and things like that? Did they accept, reject?
They were curious.
Curious. Yes.
They were curious.
Who's that girl?
Yeah,
No.
my son. I took him to. There used to be something called Mommy and Me class,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and and I wanted him to go, but I wasn't a mommy, but I did go. And at the time, Carrie Fisher was in there with her daughter Billy, and she was getting a divorce from her husband who was gay.
Oh my.
So, and I don't know if I should say that, but I think it's a known fact.
I think, yeah.
So, she and I would talk about it. And she said, "How did you end up with the baby?" It was very, very. Everyone was sort of shocked by it. I loved it. I loved parenting. To me, it didn't feel like a burden at all. I was so grateful that I had him. I had a lot of fun with him, and I took him everywhere. That little child was so sophisticated. Went to cocktail parties and restaurants and the theater. I loved being with him. Dating was a little challenging, of course.
Well, how did you work that? So dating, here you are. You have this 10-month-old. You're showing up at the Abbey. You're going to Mommy and Me classes.
Right.
You're sort of forging your way. You grew up here in L.A., so you already kind of knew the landscape. At least you had
Yes.
that. Did
Yeah.
you have childhood friends to lean on? I'm just wondering, who was there to support you?
Well, I was interestingly enough, there were a lot of my childhood friends who were angry with me because I did not share this whole thing about coming out.
Oh,
I sort of
Jesus.
cut them out because
Yeah.
coming out in the city you grow up in, and and they were at my wedding, and it was. I kind of needed to get my own bearings before I started to deal with that. And the funny thing is, they were all really great about it.
Eventually, or at the time?
Eventually.
Okay.
Yes.
But they got mad at first. It's a peeve of mine, but nonetheless, I do understand. From a 10,000-foot view, but it really is kind of a peeve that a lot of straight people who might even consider themselves quite progressive can be very upset that you didn't tell them first,
Right.
or you didn't tell them early,
Right.
or that you told them something else to begin with. They don't understand what it's like.
No.
To be a child and eventually an adult in a society that hates
Right.
LGBTQ people. And even though it's become more accepting, now we're seeing a giant backslide. I don't know if you saw today, the Supreme Court is, it looks like they are weighing arguments by a therapist. So I was tuned into this because it's
terrible.
a therapist. And this sounds like a very goofy therapist. It doesn't sound like a well-trained therapist, but nonetheless, she got someone to represent her and basically is going against the Colorado law because she wants to do conversion therapy with teens or children. And there's a law against that. Why
Yes.
is there a law against that? Because there's a mountain of evidence to show that that's harmful. You can just talk to someone who's been through it, and they'll tell you how harmful it was. But there's a mountain of evidence that we can point to scientifically to say it's okay. And you've got Supreme Court justices who are having willful blindness about this and just saying, well, there's no evidence of this, and that this should be a free speech issue. Whatever free speech is there, I guess it's okay for a licensed medical professional to say, to give really bad medical treatment. I guess that's what they're about to say. But the poor kids, yes.
Yeah.
So this is the world we live in. It's a world filled with assaults, and that's going to happen. The Supreme Court is going to overturn what they said was okay 3 years ago, which were to outlaw conversion therapy. Now they're going to overturn it. But it's just shocking to me, the world we live in, and it seems it's never a comfortable place.
It was interesting. Gay men were shocked.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick little story.
Yeah.
I went to, I had a very nice lady who used to live in and help me take care of him because I work, right? But I told her I was going to go to Probe, which was this nightclub that was very popular back in the day.
So just another diversion for those who don't know LA, or back in the 90s, I guess, is when it was really hot, wasn't it? I remember Probe was over on, was it on Highland or La
Yes,
Brea?
on
Highland,
Highland, yeah.
okay. And this club really didn't get going till about, I don't know, after the bars closed, so at 2. I mean, really kind of just didn't pick up till about then. And then it became this huge after-hours club that was, I mean, it had quite a reputation. But everyone seemed to know it because it was the place to go.
Oh, it was great because you'd see everybody you knew at Probe, right?
Uh-huh.
But I told this lady I was going to this lady that helped me take care of Daniel. I said, "Look, I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to take a cab, and when I get home, you can go home early. I don't need you tomorrow." And
Uh-huh.
I said I'd be back around 12:30. And I thought I'll go at 10.
And you got there to an empty club, I'm imagining.
Well, when I got there, it was about 11 something.
I see.
And it started to sort of trickle in a little bit. And there were 4 guys that said to me, I haven't seen you before. And I go, well, I'm new. I just came out. And they're like, oh, well, you got to hang out with us and party with us. So we did. I was on the dance floor with these guys, having a great time. Everyone's shirts off. And then I realized, oh, my God, it's like 3:30 in the morning.
Just suddenly.
Yes. And I said, I have to go. And I go, but you know what? Just come for breakfast. Not thinking. So I give them my address, and there were no cell phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time, I lived on the Wilshire Corridor in one of those high-rise building with the doorman.
Very fancy, for those who don't know. Very fancy place.
And I lived there with my ex-wife. So you can imagine, now she's gone, and men are starting to come to the apartment. So I tell the doorman they're coming, and they and I tell the lady, thank you, you can go home. And I start trying to put as much baby paraphernalia away as possible. Yeah, so I'm just, and the doorman calls me and they go, you've got 4 shirtless men down here.
Oh,
Should I
Jesus.
send them up? So they come in and like, oh, wow, you live here by yourself? I'm like, yep. And we're making breakfast and everyone's having a great time. And all of a sudden, I didn't realize the monitor, which is sort of in the corner, this little voice of a baby says, hey. And everyone stops. I'm like, I thought I heard a baby. I'm like, no, there's no baby. So they, we're doing what we're doing. And then all of a sudden, there's a baby that's, they hear, hey, Dad. And the guy goes, dude, I heard a baby. There's a baby here. I'm like, okay, I have a baby. They're like, what? I have a baby. He's getting up. I'm just going to go get him. And I go down the hall, and these guys are following me down the hall. I'm like, oh, no. I open the door, and there's my son with the biggest grin standing up on the crib. And all of a sudden, all the guys went from this club atmosphere and, that attitude. They went, oh, baby.
Oh.
And it occurred to me, these guys aren't around babies. They didn't have the opportunity to be around babies.
No. In fact, you're often excommunicated from your own family or pushed away from your friends with babies. So it is an unusual experience. So, yes, to be around a gay man who has a child.
Yes, and they had a great time. We went up to the pool, and we put Daniel in a raft, and we all were floating around.
Oh.
And they all had a great time. Now, dating was a quite different story. Friendship was a little easier to come by. There was a lot of curiosity, of course. We'd go to Merrick's, which is a Mexican restaurant, and Daniel was tiny, and the guys wanted to, as long as I could see Daniel, they'd have him on their shoulders, and they'd pop him on someone else's shoulders, and it was kind of fun, yeah. And I just had to make sure I balanced, and that Daniel, of course, always came first.
That's what I would think. I mean, how do you balance being a father with dating? I mean, who comes? I mean, it's obviously your child always came first.
Yes.
You just said that, but nonetheless, I'm sure you ran into circumstances when people were like, "Oh, you have a kid? Oh, see you later."
Oh yeah, of course. And I knew that would happen. But nonetheless, I wanted to date. And he does have to come first. And as a parent, they're always testing you because you never really know how selfish you are until you have a child. Because in your mind, like, I don't want to do this. I want to come first. But you can't. The child has to come
Good
first.
parents would have that philosophy, yes.
So, I met this one guy, and we started to go out. And he came over one night, and I said to him, my son is teething, but he should be sleeping. And the lady left. And we're having a great time, and we're kissing and all of that. And all of a sudden, I hear Daniel, and he's crying. He's when babies get their molars, it's very painful.
I don't remember, but yeah. I imagine so.
So yeah, I said, I'll be right back. And he goes, where are you going? I'm like, well, he's crying. I've got to go get the baby. So, and then we come back. I put him down, and I come back and start kissing and making out again. And I hear Daniel's crying. And I'm like, I'll be right back. And he goes, really? And I'm like, I'll be right back. And I go to get Daniel. I bring him in, and I said, the poor baby. He's in such pain. He's getting his molars. And the guy says to me, how long is this going to go on?
Yikes.
And I said, well, it's not, because you're going home.
Good for you.
But there was a lot of that in the beginning.
Because, man, what a tool. He was asking you to put your child aside.
Yes.
And make him the priority. That's,
Yes.
that's a bad sign for years to come.
Oh, yes. I'm like, thank you. You gave me such great information up front. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a big one. Why did you want a kid?
I always loved kids. Always loved kids. And I thought I wanted that white picket fence. I was very fortunate. My parents had a very happy marriage.
Is this from when you were a little kid?
Yeah.
You wanted, that is a common reason people experience,
Yeah. I was a
themselves as a
counselor.
child.
Yes.
No, were you really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
those were always the coolest kids that got to be camp counselors.
I loved it. And I really, if I knew for sure my marriage was going to implode, we would not have adopted. But I'm so grateful that we did, because I don't know otherwise if I would have had a child. But I always wanted a kid, and I had been in long-term relationships. In the first long-term, we had discussed having another kid. And but there was
with a man.
With a man.
You discussed having a second child.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had raised a kid, so he was very familiar in the ways of children.
Okay.
So that was also very healthy.
Yeah.
know. So that showed me that there are men out there who were accepting. But I jumped into that relationship pretty quickly because it was the first man that was like, oh, cool, you've got a kid. That's great.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, you're it.
Well, I mean, you have to think of two in that instance.
Yes.
I know I was raised by a single mother, and she always had to think of the kids.
Right.
The kids were always primary.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just how it was. And one was disabled. So, I mean, it kind of made everything much more amplified.
Oh, when they're disabled, my son was diagnosed with autism at 29 months old.
Ah, yes.
And that was a huge pill to swallow. But the thing about that was there was a window of opportunity. So he learned to read and he learned to write. And, he's doing fine now. He's an adult. He's in a group home, and of course, he comes home all the night, spend the night once or twice a week. But that was also very challenging because now not only did I have a child, I had a special needs child. So
Yeah, that's 10 times.
Yeah.
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 So, and I think when you have a special needs child, then so much of your life becomes focused on the child. And of course, it's not like they just run away and have independent lives. You continually have to be a father the rest of your life.
Yes, I'm his conservator.
Yeah.
And then I've put somebody else in place, so if something happens, he's taken care of. But he's also taught me so much about humor and how to laugh at yourself. And the sky is not falling. It's been he's been a very good teacher, actually.
It's interesting, yes, to stay totally present as opposed to, you know, thinking about like, I can get all caught up in world events, like you heard me earlier. But yeah, it helps you really to focus on what's important, which are the people in your life.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, I just wanted to throw out some common reasons that men might want to have children, gay men might want to have children. This is from a study. Emotional intimacy is one reason. Wanting a family. These are what the men said in large numbers. Wanting a family, desire for legacy, wanting closeness, wanting to parent, nurture, and guide the next generation. And the reason you cited, which is the influence of your own family of origin experience. When you come from a good background, I think it's why I didn't want a child, because I just didn't want to put a child through, like my experience. But, nonetheless, I do recognize most people even have pretty good experiences.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel, of course, he's half black. And I love to say, okay, my I told somebody, they said, describe Daniel and you. Goes back actually a couple of years ago. He said, my son Daniel, who is an adopted, half black, autistic person who was raised loosely as a Jew by his gay divorced father, whose father is a Holocaust survivor. So
your father's a Holocaust survivor?
Yes, my father was a Holocaust survivor.
Unbelievable.
And my father's attitude was, I don't care what color a person is. I don't care what religion they are. I don't care who they sleep with. Are they a good human being?
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah. Which is interesting that I made it so difficult for myself coming out with Daniel.
But that's, but one must have compassion for themselves. I mean, again, there are so many forces coming at you. It's great that you had one great force in your father with that philosophy, but there are so many other forces. There's what's happening at school, what's happening on television, your friend group, media, what it's feeding us constantly. I think growing up gay, people get a little mixed up. They don't understand what a child gets so many messages from so many places. From church, I remember seeing negative things and heard it from priests. I grew up Catholic and saw pamphlets, about needing to change your sexuality in the back of the church. And it's just a message you continually get.
Well, now we live in a bubble in Los Angeles, and my partner and I had
people keep trying to pop it, though.
Yes, well, we had drinks with another couple, and husband and wife, and one of their boys goes to Pali, and he's gay.
Pali is a Palisades High, which burned. Well, a lot of it burned in the fire.
Yes, and it's going to reopen soon, fortunately. But they have a gay and lesbian club. They've got a trans club. So you actually...
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he's very fortunate to live in this city, because when you think about the Midwest and these kids that don't have these opportunities to express themselves and explore, it's got to be horrible.
In fact, I just want to brag about my own high school. I went to Marina High School, Huntington Beach, and we had the very first trans female homecoming queen ever, well, that we know about, but publicly trans female homecoming queen was at that high school. That was, I think, probably about 12 years ago.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, now that city's known for making some hard right turns.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we did have that.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me about, do you ever feel like you're stuck between worlds? Like here you are a dad, here you are, gay man, trying to date. Now you're in a relationship.
Yes.
So I imagine things are easier to blend together.
Yes.
But do you ever feel like one world has difficulty communicating with the other?
Not as much now.
Okay.
But it's still always a pull. Like Daniel, I'm going to pick him up tomorrow. We had to have a meeting. We have to adjust his medications. It's this is an ongoing thing with Daniel. Interestingly enough, I don't discuss these things with friends of mine because they wouldn't really understand what's going on. They love Daniel. They know Daniel. But when I was younger and he was home, oh yes, it was. I felt like I was living in two worlds.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know this world because my brother and dealing with the exact thing, living in a group home, the whole thing. I mean, very, very similar. So my brother just recently passed, though, just a couple of months ago. So that was unusual. So I would say unusual. No, it's quite usual. It's just very sad. But yeah, so I do understand. And I think that is just another layer. Like if you were just a typical, dad, like, just got to get him to 18 and push him out the door.
Right.
But again, when you have a child who has special needs, then you are the parent. You've got to be in that role for the rest of your life.
Yes, I'm in that role for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and being a conservator, which
Yeah.
I was as well. So it's the same.
And Daniel, surprisingly, was very well adjusted as a small child, seeing me in a relationship. And he was very comfortable coming with me to a pool party and, and he...
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Because
so
they
cool.
just love people.
Yeah, love people, love people. I remember taking him to Hamburger Mary's when they first started doing the bingo nights, and he was about 10. And we walk in, and he looks at me, and the drag queen says hello.
The drag queen does the bingo. There's
Yes.
drag queen bingo. It's a big deal here.
And Daniel looks at me and goes, "She's a man?" I'm like, "Yes, she's a man."
Clocked it.
Yes. But I was happy I could actually provide that for him, that he has such a normal perspective about relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's actually quite good. What has fatherhood taught you about love?
You have to love unconditionally. And it doesn't necessarily pertain to just your child, although primarily that's what I mean, love unconditionally. But and I don't even know if I have to love unconditionally. I think you just love unconditionally. I also like the fact that it gave me perspective, and I didn't always have to come first.
Yeah.
Because that I had the ability to put another being before myself. And that's actually served me in relationships. And as gay men, I don't want to generalize, but as gay men, a lot of times, we don't have any other responsibilities except to ourselves. So you don't really have to think about that.
Was there ever a time when you were being a parent that you thought, I wish I weren't in this position? I wish.
God, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, lots of times. Lots of times, yeah. I mean, there were times I was supposed to go to on a trip with my ex and
Your ex-wife or your
ex-partner, male
guy? Okay.
and we were going to go to New York, and then from there we were supposed to go to Paris. So I was very excited. And the day we were going to leave for New York, Daniel is probably about 3.5 or 4, and he's running a huge fever and a horrible cough. And I'm like, you go, but I cannot leave this child in somebody else's hands. I've got to take care of him and make sure he's okay. Now, at that point, I really wished that I
You were about 30? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
let's go.
Let's go. Right. So I think every parent probably feels there are times when they just wish they didn't have kids.
Oh yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there were many times. But that's really shows that's how lovely it is that, there are parents who probably would go who are more narcissistic, who are more maybe not as focused on their children.
Probably his mother. I shouldn't say that. But yes, but
Well,
probably.
tell me
his mother.
about the mother. I mean, did she ever give you problems? You took the child, or is she like good riddance, or what happened?
No, we had a lot of issues where I felt he wasn't getting proper care when he was with her. She also played dirty pool, for example. I had the district attorney calling me once and saying that we're going to have to come after you if you don't get your shit together. Excuse my language. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, you've got to let her have the child. And I said, she's not been showing up for the child. So I had to have a officer stationed at my house for 2 weeks on the day that she's supposed to come and pick up the child. And she didn't show up, and she'd file another complaint with the district attorney. So
they actually paid for an officer to stand there.
We had to get somebody.
Oh,
to
you had
stand
to
there.
get it. Yeah.
And then we had to start doing exchanges at the police station, which was terrible. But, yes, we were, she wasn't done punishing me probably until 6 years ago. And then she cut off all communication with Daniel.
Oh,
and yes, and when we were...
And a child who has special needs
Yeah.
like this, they get hit in the gut. They don't process it. They can't process it quite the same way.
No, it was devastating.
It's
for him.
devastating.
It still is.
Yeah.
But he knows he's well loved by a lot of people, but that is his mother, right? But yeah, so she that's it, stopped communication.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. But you've been a constant force in Daniel's life.
Oh yeah,
And so that's the through line is you.
Oh yes, oh yeah. He knows he can count on me.
What do you hope that Daniel learns from you?
I hope Daniel. There's two things. He functions on a very young level, and I hope he understands one day why he is in the group home, and he's been in the same one for 12 years, and he loves the owner of the group home. And that is like his second family, but he really would love to be with me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he doesn't quite understand why he can't. And I hope someday as he gets older, he'll understand better.
Does he ask that? Like, why can't I be?
He used to. He stops. He knows.
Okay.
But I see him every single week,
Okay.
like clockwork, and every holiday.
Yes.
So he'll, and he sees my family and, my siblings and my mom. And the other thing I would say is, he knows people that have passed away. And I hope to be here for many, many, many years. But at some point, I hope he understands that I won't be here forever. Because in his mind, he said to me once, recently we knew somebody that passed away, and he says, you're not going to pass away. And I said, well, not to my knowledge. I'm not planning on it, at least right now, Daniel. But it does concern him a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he have friends in the home?
Oh, yeah. He goes to a day program.
Oh, good. Yeah.
He goes to a day program, and they do karaoke.
Don't you love the staff in the day programs?
Oh, yeah.
They're amazing.
And the school dances. His teachers were amazing.
Oh, yes.
That these people could deal with, 10, 12 kids at a time and teach them to read and write and, comprehend what they're reading is absolutely
So he
amazing
can
to me.
read.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
My brother wasn't ever at that level,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
he can
really,
read and he
truly
can
amazing.
he can write. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
tremendous.
his self-esteem's great. I said, you look really handsome today. And he goes, I know.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for Daniel.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, if you could go back, if you could roll your own life back to Daniel, pre-Daniel, I don't know, maybe even getting married, what advice would you have given yourself? I know it's tough because we wouldn't have listened to ourselves, but what advice would you give now?
To not be so afraid of what's true.
Not to be so afraid of what's true.
Yes, that it's okay. That, everything can be a little scary in the beginning, but that's life. Anything new or unknown is a little scary. I think I made some I made some choices that were not right for me because I think a lot of times, and this is a whole different discussion, but I think I was very fearful about who I really was. And because I had no problem sleeping with girls in high school,
You could pass.
I could pass.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's important. Some people can pass, and that isn't always a good thing in the long run.
No. And it wasn't until I was with a man, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So, yeah, I think young people. I grew up in a bubble. I really did, and I grew up in a neighborhood in LA, which is a bubble. And my parents were very overprotective, and I think I'm not blaming them at all because they were absolutely wonderful. But I think in my father, given his experiences, wanting to protect his children,
Sure.
I
My
didn't
God.
really know how to make a decision to save my life because I really didn't know how.
How do you mean? Like, what? You didn't know how to make a decision?
Well, everything was always taken care of.
oh,
for
they
me.
took care of you.
Yeah, so I really didn't understand anything about life.
Did you have siblings, or was it just
Yes,
you?
I've got three sisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right on.
I'm the baby, the only boy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes, right.
The most protected of them all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my dad used to call me the Polish prince.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is incredible, David. I think there's so much richness in your story and what you have to offer. So I really thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be here and tell it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many of us wait to live our truth until the perfect time. And I'm glad that actually you found that time very early on. And I'm wondering that when you had Daniel, did he play a role in you going, I can't live this way anymore, being, married to a woman, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I felt like when we brought him home from the hospital, I felt like I just felt like I was ruining 3 lives.
Oh, wow.
And I felt that this child needs to have a shot. And I felt like such a mess because I wasn't being my authentic self. So, that was the impetus for me to leave. I just knew it was not on. I mean, honesty is everything.
And so incredible. I've observed this so many times that when people see a baby for the first time, their own, all of a sudden, it changes them.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it changes them sometimes for the better, and sometimes they go a different path.
That's right.
But I'm glad it really changed you for the better. Authenticity. Your authenticity is really welcome, and it's not just about you; it's also about your kids. So that's
yes, and I felt
it's quite a gift.
I think I'm a better friend, a better partner, a better family member because of Daniel.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I really appreciate you being here. Is there any advice you can give to expecting fathers out there, oh my God.
Yes, maintain your sense of humor.
Because that will be challenged many times.
Right. Yes.
Okay, maintain your sense of humor. I came up with some resources. I'll have a lot more in the YouTube page on the show notes, or I'll have it in my. I give a handout for these shows that you can go and download. So I'll put all these resources on there. But 4 big ones: Family Equality. It's a leading nonprofit for LGBTQ families. You didn't have anything. You didn't even have potluck.
Nothing.
Pop-luck.
Nothing.
Pop-luck was here in L.A. And it was a thing just for gay fathers, but that came when? In the 2000s?
I think he was
a little later?
probably already like 13 or 14.
Oh,
by the
okay.
time. Yeah.
So you're like,
Yeah.
been there. So, okay, the Family Equality is a leading nonprofit for LGBTQ families. Go to familyequality.org. Also, Men Having Babies. This is a really fascinating organization. It's a nonprofit for men pursuing parenthood through surrogacy. menhavingbabies.org. There's also this Gay Fathers Project, which is a research project that Yale did. And it's just kind of interesting to take a look at. They were basically doing research, but also trying to gather stories of gay fathers, which is so important because what we know is that we can really identify someone's story. It's why I wanted to have you on, because I could spout all those statistics, which I'm sure you all got numbed out when I was doing it. But yet the story is what sticks with people. Gayfathersproject.org and Gays with Kids. This is an online magazine. You should check it out. Online magazine for LGBTQ parents and expecting parents. It's called gayswithkids.com. So, well, if this episode moved you, thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If this episode moved you, share it with someone who needs to know that they're not alone. For more conversations about life, love, and psychology, subscribe to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg. And don't forget to rate, review, or follow it, Off the Couch with Dr. Greg, on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We're on TuneIn. We're on all kinds of cool places. YouTube. Links to the studies, go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/Dr. Greg. That's where all the show notes, that's where I put them, because that's where I put them. It includes a link to the handout. Hit us up on socials at Ask Dr. Greg. This is Dr. Greg, Brian, Tony, and of course, David Bader. Thank you so much. Bidding you farewell until next time. Be present, be flexible, and be kind.